HeroClash is a medieval fantastic game with miniatures for 2 players. In the first season of the game, each player will be able to play with Torov, the keeper of the Northern Clan, or Vaclav, the warlord of death. The game is played in 20 minutes on a board of 7 tiles by 7. To defeat your opponent, you have 6 rounds to obtain the most important amount of supremacy points, or kill your opponent hero. To obtain the supremacy points, the players will play with objectives. An objective is represented by a card. On the top of the card, you have the name of the objective. Here is to crush the weak. In the middle, you have 2 requests. Here, you have to kill an opponent auxiliary. In the bottom are the supremacy points you obtain if you fulfill the request. Here is 2. At the top right, you have the supremacy points with which you start the game if you keep the objective in your reserve. Here is also 2. Let me explain. The first phase of the game is to select the objectives the player will play. Each player gets a set of 6 objectives. You have to read the objectives and choose an objective to keep in your reserve and an objective you and your opponent will play. Once you did that, switch your set with your opponent. Choose in your new set the objective for your reserve and the objective to play. Switch again and repeat the process until there is 6 objectives to play and 3 objectives in each player reserve. Now the players can add the supremacy points in the reserve to start the game. And you can put aside these objectives. Now let's see the battle plan and the objectives selected by the players. For example, with the diversion you have to surround your opponent's hero to obtain 2 supremacy points. With the strategic position, your hero has to be in the central tile of the board to obtain 3 supremacy points. When an objective is done, remove the objective of the battle plan. And remember, you have 6 rounds to obtain a maximum of supremacy points by solving the objective in the order you want. Of course, you can rather kill your opponent hero. Now you can see the pictures in the bottom of the card. A color on the left and a rune of the right. We will use these to place the scenaries on the board. For that, we associate the rune on the first objective and the color of the next one, and place a scenery on the selected rune, here the blue P. Now, we can do the same for each scenery and use the rune on the last objective with the color on the first one. And we place a supremacy point on every free rune. Each hero starts on the free corner of the board. The hero with the least amount of supremacy points chooses this side and who begins the first round. Now let's go back on the heroes. The heroes are represented by a card. At the bottom of the card are the actions you can make with your hero. You start the game with 3 action tokens. And at your turn, you can spend a token to make an action. At the end of your turn, give the tokens you spent to your opponent. He will use it during his turn. For example, if Torov spent an action during his turn, at the end of it, he will give a token to Vaclav. Vaclav starts his turn with 4 action tokens. On the next round, Torov will start his turn with 2 action tokens plus the tokens Vaclav spent. The first action on the card is the movement. 4 tiles for Torov, 3 tiles for Vaclav. The second action on the card is the attack. For Torov, the attack is 3 8 faces dice on the tile in front of him. For Vaclav, the attack is 5 6 faces dice on one of the 3 tiles in front of him. For which attack action from a hero, the opponent can defend himself. You can see the defense of a hero on the top right of his card. Thorwolf gets 2 8 faces dice, Vaclav gets 1 6 faces die. If Thorwolf wants to spend an action token to attack Vaclav, he has to be in a tile in front of him, like in the description of his attack. In HeroClash, you get a success for each die with a result of 3 or more. In this example, if Thorwolf got a 4 and a 5, he has 2 success. If Vaclav got a 5, he has 1 success. The resolution of this action is simple. You have to remove the defense success of the attack success to obtain the hits. Here, 2 minus 1, Vaclav gets 1 hit. Now you remove the hits on the defender's heal points. You can see the heal points on the top left of the cards. Thorwolf gets 8 heal points. Vaclav gets 11 heal points. 11 minus 1. Now, Vaclav has only 10 heal points. When a hero has no more heal points, he's dead. Now you know how the actions work, you can choose the abilities your hero will use during the game. For that, you have 3 abilities represented on the right side of the hero's card. You can select each one with the restriction of the icons. Some abilities are common and some are specific to a hero. For example, Thorwolf gets a second attack and Vaclav gets a second movement. With the other abilities, your hero can get weapons, shields, health points, or auxiliaries. The auxiliaries are represented by a card and by a miniature. With them you will be able to adapt your game to the objectives and get more mobility and more attacks to kill the opponent hero. The auxiliaries start the game on the same border tiles of your hero's start, and with them you can make actions as well. You can use your auxiliaries to block the opponent and give a bonus dice to the attack of your hero. You also benefit from a bonus if you attack the opponent from the side, or better, from the back. The last aspect of the game you need is the strategy cards. You get 7 strategy cards to surprise your opponent. This one is fighting the floor. In the middle of the card is the description of the strategy. Here, you give a malus to an auxiliary's defense until the end of the next action phase. On the top left, you have the cost in supremacy points. Here is 1 point. Yes, you heard me well. There is the same supremacy points you need to win. So once again, be careful with your reserve. There is several types of strategy cards. Some of them give bonus to your characters, some of them give malus to your opponent's characters, and some of them are more clever, as replacing an objective by a discarded one of your choice. I'm leaving you here and hope to meet you again on the next video for a game of HeroClash. We have a lot of subtleties to show you.